Okay, so there's only one level of inheritance, and that is why it is called single inheritance. But in multi-level you can have multiple levels. Okay, you can have child classes in different levels, okay, where one class can inherit the parent class, so that can go on, the number of levels can go on. Okay, so you can have say for example, let me just show you here. I showed, yeah, for example, in this case, this is one multi example of multi-level inheritance, where B is inherited from class A and C is inherited from class B. You can also have another class, say class D, which can be inherited from class C, but ultimately it, it's basically one kind of a sequence. Okay, so one class at one level. That's all about multi-level inheritance. So we will directly start with examples. I'll show you in the editor directly. Okay, starting with the first program. See, I hope the concepts of the access specifiers are clear to you now. Public, private, protected, and default. I hope it is clear to you all, right? I have also shown you the working of protected access specifier in the last classes programs. Is it clear to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The more you practice, the more you will get your concepts clear. Okay. So you will also have to do your own bit of work. You cannot leave everything upon your faculty. Yes. So now let's start with the first program of multi-level inheritance. See, here we have three classes. Okay, we will be considering classes in three different levels. The in the root level, we have the top level. Top level, when I say top level parent class, it simply means that I'm talking about the first level, the first main parent class. Okay, so the top level parent class is the animal class. Okay, then in the animal class we have a method eat, okay, which will simply display this message. And since there's no access specifier, so it clearly means it is default. Okay, so it can be directly accessed from outside the class also. Okay, because it has got default access specifier. Next, we have a child class of the animal class, which is the dog class. Okay, so dog extends animal. So this is the child class, and it will, inherit the entire animal class. Okay, and since we have only one method, which is default, so it can be directly inherited inside the dog class. Okay, and apart from, that once the dog class extends the animal class, apart from having the eat method, the dog has its own method. Okay, this is the dog's own method, dog class's own method, which is the bark. Okay, this is also default, and it simply prints barking. Next, we have a baby dog or a pup. Okay, so here we have a baby dog, which is a child to the dog. So if you look at the hierarchy, see, the top level parent is the animal. That animal, you come down. Okay, this is the general level, as I told you about generalization and specialization in the very first class. If you all remember, I spoke about these two terms, generalization. So animal is a general term. If you want to specify which animal, then you come one level down and you get the dog. For example, in this case, you again come one level down, you specify, be more specific again, then you get the baby dog, and likewise. Okay, so the top level is always the generalized level, the general level. Okay, so from animal you got dog. Okay, dog inherited the properties of animal, and now baby dog has inherited the properties of dog. Okay, so let me just show you one thing here. Let me just show you in terms of a diagram. I'll just show it here. Okay, see, this is the animal class. Okay, then you have the dog class here, and then you have the baby dog here. Okay. Okay. So in my example, I have considered these three. This is not the example. Okay. This is not the program. Oh yeah, this is the program I was talking about there. So here you see you have three classes, right? So the if you design it in diagrammatic way, it would look something like this. This is the first parent class. Then from okay, dog is the child class of animal, and baby dog is the child class of the dog class. Now initially the animal class had only one uh, operation, only one method, which is the eat method, right? So we have the eat method here. Okay, this is the eat method. Then once dog inherits the animal class, okay, the dog, apart from having its own method, will also have the eat method inside it now. Okay, because it can directly inherit the eat method as it is default. Okay, if it is private, other than all private members, all other members can be inherited directly. Okay, so this child class of animal can directly inherit the eat method of dog. So this eat method lies inside the dog now. Apart from that, it also has got one more method of its own, which is the bark method. Okay, now baby dog inherits the dog class. So what will happen is the baby dog already has one method, which is the whip. Okay, the whipping method. So this is its own method, and apart from it, it will also have the methods of all the dog class. Okay, and dog class has its own method as well as the animal classes method as well. So if you see here, we get all the methods directly inside the baby dog class. Yes. Okay, so if you see, have you understood this? Dog inherited animal. So apart from its own, this is it, this is the dog's own method. Okay, now eat was of animal class, bark was of the dog class, and whip is of, let me just highlight it with a different color, so blue. Okay, so whip method is of the baby dog class. So if you see the lowest level, okay, the lowest child class has got all the methods or all the properties of its parent classes, of its parent class, or you know, the upper class, the top level parent class. Okay, so this is what we'll do. So now if you just look at the diagram, what do you understand? That if you create an object of the baby dog class, yes, you can directly access all the methods, because you know baby dog has directly access, you know, it has directly access the methods eat and bark inside it. Okay, apart from its own method. So if you only create object of the baby dog class, you can easily access the methods. So that is what is done here. Okay, so apart from these three classes, we have a fourth class, which is the multi-level inheritance one. Okay, I have named it depending on the example number. So multi-level inheritance one, this is one class inside which I have the main method, and inside the main method I have simply created an object of the baby dog class. Okay, and using that object itself, I will be invoking all the methods starting from the whip, bark, and eat. Okay, and now if I try to run the program, let's see what we get. See, because I invoked the whip method first. So whipping got displayed, then barking, then for lastly for eat method, we got the eating message. Okay, so accordingly, the messages got displayed. Now let us make some minor changes here. For example, uh, let me just make it protected. Okay, I'll just show you. Let me just make it protected. Okay, see, I have made this protected, and what did we learn about protected? That protected members can be inherited only by the immediate derived class or child class. Yes, so since this is protected, it can be easily inherited by the dog class. Okay, now we see whether or not we can access the eat method from the baby dog classes object or not. We can access it from this class or not. Okay, have you understood what I said? If you create, see,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, this is a protected member. Okay, so now if you try to access this from dog class, of course you can do it, because you can immediately you can the immediate child class has got direct access to the protected members of the parent class, that we understood. But baby dog class is not an immediate class, immediate child class of the animal class. Okay, so let's see if the protected member E can be accessed by the baby dog class or not. Okay, so I'm not making any other changes except for the access specifier. So let's see. Yes, it can be done. Why? Because you see, as I told you, here it was protected, but it was directly inherited in here. Yes, now since it belongs to the dog class also, therefore the baby dog class can inherit all the methods that are inside the dog class. Okay, so that is all about, I think, private on EDECOM. Default and public are the same, that is understood. And regarding public, if private, if this was private, then this could not have been inherited directly by dog. For that, you need to have another method inside the animal class to access this method, and that method can be invoked by the dog class or baby dog class, provided that second method has any other access modifier other than private. Okay, so that is all. Okay, next we look at another example of protected. See, that's it. Okay. Here also we have three classes. Okay, three level inheritance. The first is the car class. Then car is extended by Maruti, and Maruti is extended by Maruti 800. Okay, car, Maruti, and Maruti 800. So these are the three classes. So inside car we have two public methods. One is the, okay, this is the constructor actually. Okay, this is the constructor car. Okay, so inside the constructor we are simply printing a message. Fine, and then inside this we have what, a method, okay, of vehicle type. So it will simply display vehicle type is car. Next, in the Maruti method, okay, when we talk about the Maruti method, since Maruti is extending the car, so vehicle type will automatically come inside this. Okay, apart from the vehicle type, Maruti has its own other features. One is the Maruti, which is, this is the constructor of the Maruti class. Okay, then this is the brand, this is one method, first method, and this is the second method. And then in Maruti 800 we have, see, Maruti 800 is just a child of the Maruti class, and Maruti class has got three methods now: vehicle type, brand, and speed. So all these three methods are now inherited by the Maruti 800 class. So apart from these three methods, the Maruti 800 also has got one more method, which is the speed method. Okay, and here it has got its own constructor. Okay, so now let's just see. So here, see, inside the child class itself, in the Maruti 800 itself, I have created an object directly. I have not taken any other class for the main function. I have directly taken the main function here. I have created an object obj, and using that obj, I have tried to invoke the methods vehicle type, which is from the car class, brand, which is from the Maruti class, and speed. Okay, so speed, if you see here, we have two speeds. Yes. So let's see which speed gets displayed first. Okay. See here. First, the constructor. Okay. See. Always remember that when okay, we have not spoken about constructors in case of inheritance. Okay. See, let me just tell you, we will be anyways discussing about it. We have to discuss about the constructors, okay, how constructors are inherited and so on. But here, since we have used constructor, just let me tell you here that although we have invoked the three methods, vehicle type, brand, and speed, okay. So if you see vehicle type, okay, the message has been displayed accordingly from the vehicle type method. Then for the brand method, okay, for the brand method, brand Maruti message has been displayed. And for the speed method, if you see which speed is displayed, the speed method of the Maruti 800 class is displayed and not of the Maruti class. Okay, so I'll tell you what's happening actually. You see, see here we have three classes again. One is the X, where we have a method X, okay, method. Then we have the child Y of X, where we have a method Y method. And then finally, we have the third child, which is the multi-level inheritance 2 class. Okay, this is the child class, which has extended properties of the Y class. Okay, so inside this class, we have method Z. Okay, and here we have given the main method directly. So what we'll do is we will directly create an object of this class obj and we'll try to invoke each of these methods. Okay, so this first we have tried to invoke the method X of class X, then we have invoke method Y of class Y, and then method Z. So this can be directly done, okay, because many of the access specifiers we have here, it is public, so you don't have to care about anything here. Okay, so this can be easily done. See, next, last, multi-level inheritance. So here in multi-level inheritance, we have again four classes. Basically, this is just for the main function. Otherwise, we have three classes in this multi-level inheritance. One is the shape class, then rectangle extends the shape class, and then finally the cube class extends the rectangle class. Okay. So in the shape class, we will have a display message only. Then in the rectangle class, we have an area method. Okay. And then in the cube class, we have a volume method. So basically, since all the access specifiers are public, so the cube class can directly inherit the rectangle class, okay, the methods, which is area. And apart from it, the rectangle class had already inherited the shape class method, which is display. So both display and area can be now considered inside the cube class. So basically, cube class has got all the three methods. Okay. So just creating the method of a cube, creating an object of the cube class, you can directly access each of these three methods. Is it clear? Do I need to show you display kore dekham thik আছে দেখাই দিব style or do okay. So first the display class display method this got displayed, then we have the area method, and then finally we have the volume method. Okay. Next we come to hierarchy. Okay. So I have copy pasted all the programs here so that you can take it directly. I'll share the document today, okay, after the class.
প্ৰণৱে সুধিছে পেৰেণ্ট ক্লাছটো ওপৰত লিখিলে কিবা হয় মানে চাইল্ড ক্লাছটো ওপৰত লিখিলে কিবা হ'ব নি মেম পেৰেণ্ট ক্লাছৰ মেম প্ৰগ্ৰামত মেম পেৰেণ্ট ক্লাছৰ ওপৰত চাইল্ড ক্লাছটো লিখিলে মানে ইম্পেক্টটো হ'ব নি মেম কিবা মানে প্ৰগ্ৰামত আউটপুটত?
ঠিক আছে, এইটো দিছেতো, এইটো দিছেতো সেই চাই লোৱা। কি দেখিছা? নাই হোৱা। It is not in the order. It is from where you are invoking which class. Okay, you can even have this class. This is not a part of this multi-level inheritance. You can even write this class at the top, and you can write the parent class, grandparent class at the end. It does not matter in which sequence you have written the program. It is ultimately there will be transfer of control. Yes or no? Ultimately there will be transfer of control. So whichever statement is executed, accordingly that particular control will be transferred to that segment of the program. So whether that segment you have written, in the beginning or in the middle or somewhere at the end, it does not matter. Is it clear? You
Yes,
have
ma'am, clear,
you
ma'am.
have you have you have done C programming. There you have seen, there you have written programs using functions. Yes. So sometimes what we do is we write the main function at the end. Okay, we write the user defined functions at the beginning and main function at the end. Or sometimes we write the main function at the beginning and other user defined functions at the end. So that does not matter. It is always the main function which will be invoked first, and it is always the main function which will end. Okay, which will end the program termination. Okay, so from the main function, the control will be transferred to different parts of the program based on which statement is executed. So it does not matter in which order you have written your program. Is it fine?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
See, next we talk about hierarchical. So what did I say about hierarchical? That in hierarchical we have only one base class, and from that base class we can have multiple child classes. Okay, so this was one example. So we will directly look at the programs here. I have given two programs for hierarchical. See, we have three classes. Okay, four classes. First is the base class A. Okay, so this is the parent class A. We have only, please remember that in hierarchical we have only one parent class followed by multiple child classes. Okay, there can be multiple child classes for one base class. So this is hierarchical inheritance where we have a base class A with one method A. Then if you see classes B, C, and D, these all are child classes of which class? Class A. Yes, so A has been inherited by B, C, and D. Okay, it is just like this diagram, just that here we have another class which is class D. Okay, so class A is inherited by B, C, and D. Now lastly we have a class hierarchical one, so inside which I have just declared the main method. And if you see, since you have three child classes now, okay, since you have three child classes now, therefore you have to create objects for each of these child classes. Okay, it will not be enough that you create an object for only one child class and try to invoke the others. No. Why? Because you see, B is related to A, but B is not related to C. Okay, B does not know the methods of C. C does not know the methods of B. Similarly, with the case of D also, D does not know C and B. Okay, D knows A, C knows A, and B knows A because A is their parent class. Otherwise, they do not have relation with one another. That is why you cannot just create an object of one child class and try to refer to the other child classes. No. Okay, so since you have, depending on how many number of child classes you have, that many objects you have to create in case of hierarchical inheritance. So that is why here we have created separate objects for each of these three child classes for B, C, D, object 1, object 2, and object 3. Okay, so once each of these three objects are created, now you can access the methods, okay, of class A from any of these objects created. You can access the method of class A from B class object also, or from C class object also, or from D class object also. Okay, but if you want to refer to the methods of these child classes, then they can be invoked only by using their respective object. That means object 1, which is an object of the B class, can invoke only method B and method A. It cannot invoke method C or method D. Okay, so likewise, object 2 can invoke the method of object class A and class C only. So object 3 can invoke methods of class A and class D only. Okay, so for that, so here we have simply shown the, here we have simply shown how these three objects will invoke the method of class A. Okay. See, each of these objects have successfully invoked the class A method. Now, suppose you have tried to invoke object, the method C. Okay, you are trying to invoke method C, that is class C method, using object of class B. So let's see what happens. See, cannot find object 1 dot method. Okay, do you find the error here? Compile time error. This cannot be done because object method C is from class C and object 1 is an object of class B, and they are not related to one another, so you cannot do that. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
But if you try to invoke its own method, say method B, okay, because method B is of class B, of class B itself. So now if you try to invoke this can be done. Oh, sorry, I did a problem. Illegal start of expression. See, objects 2 and 3 are invoking methods of class A, but object 1 is invoking its own method. Okay, object 1 is invoking the method of its own class, that is the method B. So therefore we have the result. So depending on if you have n number of, so that is a headache in hierarchical inheritance. If you have say 100 child classes, then you have to create 100 objects. You have no other way out. Okay, for each of the child classes. So that is the drawback of hierarchical inheritance. You cannot, because the child classes are at one level and they are not related to one another. They are simply siblings. They do not have relation to one another. So if you want to access their methods, for that you have to create objects of each of those classes. Okay. Next, we have another program here. Animal, dog extends animal, cat extends animal. So animal is the class. Okay, then it has got two children. One is the dog and one is the cat. Okay, so in dog we have the bark method. In cat we have the mew method.